You guys ready for the ball game tonight? Should be a great one. I'm excited for the Zags. You know, I think about back when that first kind of getting it run and that program started. We were close to them when we were at Eastern Washington, and a guy by the name of Dan Fitzgerald was the head ball coach and athletic director, and just to see how far they've come. And then Dan Munson got them into the Elite Eight, and then Fewey's taken over obviously from there. And it's a pretty exciting time, just seeing the growth of a program. That's pretty cool. Good guys all that are involved in it. So.
You think back on the opportunity you had there?
Yeah, well, just knowing those guys, just seeing. You know, I think the university itself has doubled, I think, since they've started that run, and just all the guys that worked so hard to get it kind of where it's at. You know, it's just, you kind of reflect back, because there were some lean years, obviously, for that program. So, okay, you guys ready to go? Really good last week. I thought work-wise we were able to get Friday's scrimmage. Felt we made some real strides in some areas as far as taking care of the football, especially in the passing game. Eliminated some drops. Thought some guys came up with some explosive plays, which is good. Both quarterbacks had their moments of really moving the club, and I thought that was good to see, especially down in the red area. I thought Felipe got better down there. Late on one throw, but you know, was able to see it and get it off and get another touchdown pass, which was good to see. And the good thing is really there were no injuries. All right, not leading to that yet, but guys really got after it. I think we were just between the ones and twos, not counting what we did with the threes. We were able to get about 108 plays, and then you know, on top of that, you know, another, I think it was 32 or 33 plays, which was really good. And some guys, I thought Kadarius did some things. He worked with the twos a little bit in there, worked some of his package and came up with some explosive runs, and then obviously they packed the box for him and made a throw down the field. So that was good to see. But other than that, the tackling was really good. I thought Chauncey Gardner and Marcel Harris really stood out defensively in that scrimmage, and thought really did a good job. Not sure our fits were right, you know, the whole day up front, matching them with the linebackers, but credit, you know, our offensive line too for doing what they were doing as far as helping us move the football. So that was a good thing. This week, heading into the spring game, should be a lot of fun. We'll actually get some good opponent work here next couple days. I'm looking forward to that, and also prepare for the scrimmage, which, you know, has become a made-for-television event. So we've got 2 hours, actually an hour and 57 minutes, I think, to get everything in, and we'll do our best to fit that time frame. Probably be very similar to what we did a year ago. We'll sit down actually Wednesday, see how we'll be able to split it and, you know, put it in. But it'll be a 4 quarters, you know, 12-minute quarters again. We'll put some situations in there, but let the guys go out and play. So that should be fun. And a lot of things going on that weekend. Obviously, got baseball. Got a bunch of food trucks. Got a wing cook-off. So if I'm late for the stadium, I'm probably checking out how they're doing over there and some of their techniques. But that should be a lot of fun. We got great feedback from that a year ago, and you know, we also, side note, Friday had you know, over 300 ladies in our ladies huddle. That was a lot of fun seeing them go through drills. Our players did a great job. You know, helping spearhead some of those things, and as always, it was a real fun event, and you know, discovered some pretty good players out there, so that was good. But injury-wise, the only really new one, we've got Volano back. I don't think Tanner will be back. But Khalif on the Wednesday practice pulled a string, and so I don't know where he's at as far as moving forward this week. We'll band him up and see if he can go. But really, other than that, we're in pretty good shape. So, questions?
Start with Ryan up front.
Coming out of the spring, how much do you expect to know about the quarterback spot and where it stands?
Well, it should know a lot. I think it's starting to sort itself out. And you know, the natural question is, you know, well, what's sorting itself out? You'll find out. So,
Is there some separation there you see?
yeah, we're doing good.
Edgar, on the left.
What are a few things that you specifically hope to see Friday night?
I think it goes back to really probably the quarterbacks in as far as kind of now performing in front of people. You know, television audience, you know, all the things that go along in it with it, and we'll try to treat it as much as we can from a preparation standpoint, as close to game-like as we can without it. It'll be very limited. You know, I don't need Michigan to see what we're doing different because they'll obviously be watching it, and it's like anymore, all these things, you know, will be fairly vanilla, and yet in being vanilla, the good part is you see how guys play without, you know, the scheme piece of it.
The other thing is, will it be ones versus twos? And
You know,
what's the-
format we talked about, that's something we'll sit down on
What's the
Wednesday.
philosophy there, rather than doing ones versus ones? Because is it a truer gauge if you have your best going against your
Well,
best?
we did that at times. We've done them both. I think more than anything, Edgar, it really is the depth on your, you know, who you got, you know. So you try to match them up as good as you can and let them go play. So
Thomas.
I'm wondering, in spring, how much of a gauge are you able to get on, say, if your offensive line's really improved versus maybe having concerns on the other side?
it's always the million-dollar question, and I've talked about that over and over before. You get excited for one side, and yet you wonder if it's because the lack on the other side, you know, and vice versa. So you really don't know until you get game time. And yet, you know, I just know how far we've come in some of those areas, just really with the people we have playing there.
What is the biggest difference for the offensive line right now? Because it seems like they're
No,
doing
I think
pretty well.
I think their energy, I think that, you know, solidifying that center spot's been really good for us, you know, starting inside out. Tez has done a great job at tackle, and Brett Hagee has really, you know, come a long ways as well. So I think really the depth piece, and probably more than anything, some competition at different spots is something that always helps.
Robbie.
Coach, have the quarterbacks made the progress you kind of thought or hoped they would through
Yeah.
the spring?
Yeah, I've done a good job. And yet I kind of expected them to also.
And how important is performance in the spring game for those guys?
Well, it's another opportunity. Is it the end all? Absolutely not. We have a body of work obviously in there, plus what we do over the summer and then in the fall camp. So, but there again, it's another opportunity, and that's the way it's got to be approached. You know, I will say I'm excited how they're playing. So it's been good. We've been able to stretch it pretty good and take care of the ball for the most part.
Now
Hey.
on the right.
Hey, Coach, could you just tell us the story of when you first met Kyle Trask, your first impression, and is he still the same guy he was back then?
Yeah, he hadn't changed a bit. You know, the guy kept coming to camp and competed against everybody, and he's doing the same thing. You know, excited about him and how what he brings, and really the way he would say nothing really bothers him. You know, he stays very level and does a great job of studying what we're trying to do.
Edgar, on
Consider I'm doing like 9 things over here. Did you, did you,
I'm
did you,
just waiting for extra arms to come out.
did you address whether you've seen the height and physicality on the offensive line that you kind of challenged it
Yeah.
during the after the Outback ball?
No, it's been, we're coming off the ball. We're taking a step forward, not backwards. I'm excited about that. We got, obviously, as all positions, we've got ways to go, but I like their approach. You know, I mean, they really they're playing fast. They're getting up and getting set, and they're coming off the ball. It's good.
There's a lot of staff kind of shifting and some new faces here. What's been the challenge of so many changes with the staff?
I think, I wouldn't say that the challenges, I'd say part of it is good, is the embracing the new ideas and thoughts in certain ways, trying to help you maybe get better input-wise, and yet fitting into, I think the hardest thing for them is just kind of the nomenclature piece, kind of putting it in, oh, this is what we call, oh, okay, I got it, that's what that is. And yet allowing them to put their stamps on, especially their position groups. I think those 3 guys have done an outstanding job.
And you said Chauncey and Marcel had great scrimmages. How encouraged are you by that, considering the big shoes to fill in the secondary, as you
Yeah.
said? And what are you seeing with that whole group?
Well, here's what's been really good is I think, Chauncey kind of getting, his full time out there at corner, where he had kind of bounced around. I think he became really comfortable, which was good to see. Marcel in the tackling department made some open field tackles that, didn't just try to knock him out, got him wrapped up and really kept his head up, and, the things we talk about. And I thought his leadership has been really, really strong throughout spring, so that's a good thing.
Ryan?
Going back to Chauncey, we talked to him last week, I think it was, and he was, the personality was a little subdued. Did you talk to him about being more of a listener and less of a talker on the field?
No. He must have been having an off day. I don't know. Is that what it was?
Possibly.
No, I just love his energy, man. He just likes to play and likes to practice. So.
And then last week we touched on Kamari Gamble a little bit. Greg Nord was very high on him too.
Yeah.
What kind of factor do you think he could be as a freshman?
He'll be a factor. I mean, as of right now, he'll be playing, and he's just got to continue to, not, the communication piece, especially in the blocking, stuff we need to do. But here's the thing I like about him is he's willing. I mean, the guy has got courage. He doesn't back down, and he's got as good a hand-eye coordination, great ball skills as probably anybody on our team.
Thomas?
What were some of the issues with the run fits? Was it, front issue or linebackers just
Yeah,
kinda being in
just
the
the
wrong
coordination of gap control.
Okay.
It happens, and obviously some of the getting readjusted, formational shift, and that kind of stuff. The communication and making sure we get the fits is all.
How tough is that when you lose guys like Davis and Anzalone and
Well,
you don't even have Reese this
it's
spring?
the good thing is those young guys. It's like last year. I mean, we lost those 2 guys midway through, and Beauchamp has to really step up that piece now because David Reese is not even there. So, I think it's more than anything just that constant understanding, the communication, especially versus, shifts, motions, unbalanced things, all that kind of stuff that teams give you, that are doing that stuff. So, that's why you practice.
Edgar?
Last one, I promise.
Okay.
This is kind of stretching too.
It's really okay.
It's Masters Week, right?
It is, yeah.
So Jordan Spieth dumped 2 in the water on Sunday. Felipe Franks on Friday's kind of returning to a situation. He had a tough night last year. I mean, is there any mental hurdle you think he's got to get over to go out and press and show fans what he can do after last year?
I'm sure he'll be excited to get out there and redo whatever he did a year ago. And yet, like I said, this is just another piece. It's not you know, the end all one way or the other. And, you know, let's face it, the defense is going to know the route combinations, and the offense is going to know, you know, the coverage shells based on rotations and that kind of stuff. So, you know, it's really not trying to trick anybody as much as let's see if we can get our second step on the ground, create some movement, you know, win one-on-ones, those type of things. And in Felipe's case, make sure he knows what color jersey we're wearing, because he kind of threw it to the other ones, I think, last year.
Ryan?
How you doing, Chris? Snuck in the back there. You doing all right? Good.
Just given the timeliness, could you tell a story again, though, about how Gonzaga approached you, or you had the opportunity basketball
Well,
was?
I mean, it's one of those deals. Look, we were really good friends, and spent a lot of time when Fitz was a head coach and Muntz was an assistant, and Fewy, I think at the time, might not even have been, might have been one of the off recruiting roles or whatever before a guy left and bounced in there, and it just it's one of those. I'm just glad. I'm just happy for. It's great to see somebody that's put so many hours of work in and built it to something that wasn't ever handed to them. And you know, I go back to, man, there was one game I still remember. Fitz said, "We're going to run with them." Gathers and Kimball came to town for Loyola Marymount. Ended up going into overtime because everybody then was trying to slow it down against that stuff, and they packed the Gonzaga arena. And Fitz said, "Look, we're just going to let them run," and they went into overtime. And I want to say, the final ended up like 162, 140. I can't remember what it was. It was something like that, and just how far they've come from those days is something that's pretty special, man. Oh, yeah. Yeah. In fact, I was giving him a hard time. He said, they had a little guy play for him by the name of Jamie Dudley, and back there, and giving him a hard time about if Nigel went out, you know, would you put Dudley in? He didn't know that he had the answer for that one.
Any final questions, guys? All right.
All right, guys. Thanks.